Hi all, welcome back. Our today's topic of discussion is energy flow in an ecosystem from Standard 9, Subject Science and Technology, Part 2. In the first video of this lesson, we have discussed question number 1, 2, 3 and 4. You will get the link of that video in the playlist on my channel. Now, in this video, we will continue the exercise. So, let's solve the point-wise solved exercise with explanation. Question number 5. What would you do to help maintain the equilibrium in the various biogeochemical cycles? Explain in brief. Students, here it is expected to write the answer in your own words. Okay. So the answer, first point, biogeochemical cycle involves the cyclic flow of nutrients within an ecosystem. Second, climatic changes and various human activities such as deforestation, air pollution, release of harmful chemicals into water bodies, etc., seriously affects the speed, intensity, and equilibrium of biogeochemical cycle. To maintain the equilibrium in the various biogeochemical cycle, we must avoid release of harmful chemicals in water bodies, minimize the use of private vehicles, which would help us to reduce the air pollution. Plants also play a significant role in maintaining the equilibrium of oxygen and carbon dioxide in atmosphere. So, we must do tree plantation on large scale. Last point, we must avoid unnecessary deforestation for construction and various other purposes. Next question, explain in detail interrelationship between food chain and food web. See the diagram carefully. At the bottom of the diagram, you will find the green colored grass, shrubs, trees. Okay, these green colored plants, shrubs and grass, they absorb energy from the sun, and with the help of photosynthesis they produce their own food. So they are the producers in the tropic level, right? So next to that, if we consider one food chain from the diagram, see the rabbit depends on shrub for their food. Okay, in turn it is getting eaten by snake, right? Snake is now getting eaten by hawk, right? This is one of the food chain, shrub to rabbit, rabbit to snake and snake to hawk, right? See the next food chain, grass to grasshopper. See, grasshopper depends on grass for their food, shrew is depend on grasshopper for its food, snake depends on shrew for its food, and again hawk eats the snake. So these are the two food chain. If you see, snake is a common animal in both the food chain. Okay, in such a way all the food chain are interlinked with each other in any of the way, right? If you see, there are many food chains I have written here, right? Such a network of food chain is called as food web, right? So let's explain the interrelationship between them in detail point wise. First point, food chain. It is a series of organisms, each dependent on the next as a source of food, right? Second point, each food chain consists of 4, 5 or more links. Example, an insect feeds upon the leaf of different plants, but at the same time this insect is the prey for various animals like frog, which is again a prey for a snake. Snake is a prey for eagle. In the similar way, rabbits are prey for the wild cat, jackal, which are again prey for lion. Third point, in an ecosystem consists of many such a food chain which are interconnected at various levels, forming an intricate web instead of a linear chain. This kind of intricate network is called as food web. Okay. Next question, state the different types of biogeochemical cycle and explain the importance of those cycle. Okay, so there are two types of biogeochemical cycle. So first one is gaseous cycle and the other one is sedimentary cycle. So gaseous cycle involves all the gases present on the earth, and the sedimentary cycle involves all the things which are in sediment form. Okay, let's see in detail. First point, gaseous cycle, an accumulation of the main abiotic gaseous nutrient materials is found in the Earth's atmosphere. In short, what it means, it includes gases, okay, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, water vapors, etc. Okay, so gaseous cycle includes all the gases present on atmosphere, right? Understand? Next, sedimentary cycle, an accumulation of the main abiotic nutrient materials is found in soil, sediment, and sedimentary rocks, etc. of the earth. Includes soil components like iron, calcium, phosphorus. Understand? So, sedimentary cycle includes all the nutrients which are present in the soil. Okay. So, the third point, the importance of both we have to write. These cycles are important for transformation of matter from one form to another. This transformation plays significant role as a matter become available for organism in specific form. So, in short, what is the meaning of this sentence? So, all these gases, all these nutrients found in the sedimentation, soil, rock, all these substances act as a nutrient for the organisms, right? Organisms make use of them as their nutrition to live, right? Biogeochemical cycles help to maintain the flow of nutrients which are required by all the organisms for their growth. Question number 8. Explain the following with suitable example. First one, what type of changes occur in the amount of energy during its transfer from plants to apex consumer? In the last video of this lesson, we have discussed about the flow of energy is one-way flow, right? Now we have to discuss what is the effect on amount of energy when it is transferred from plants to apex consumer, right? To get the concept clear, we need to see the diagram of pyramid. This is called as pyramid of energy or energy pyramid. Okay, see at the bottom of the pyramid, it is a broader part. Okay, so phytoplankton, this is a example of aquatic ecosystem I have taken here. Phytoplankton means all the plants which are present in the water, inside the water bodies. It is called as phytoplankton. So phytoplankton absorbs energy from the sun, right? Suppose this energy is 10,000 kilocalories. Okay, out of this 10,000 kilocalories, only 1,000 kilocalories is proceeds to the next tropic level, that is to the zooplankton. Zooplankton means all the herbivores, all the small fishes, small animals which feeds upon the plants inside the water are called as zooplanktons. Okay, so zooplanktons get only 1,000 kilocalories from the phytoplanktons, right? Means only 10% of the energy it gets from the phytoplanktons. Means energy taken by the zooplanktons is reduced here, right? So next food level, next tropic level, if we see, the fishes which feeds on the zooplanktons get only 100 kilocalorie of the total energy belongs to the zooplankton. Means only 10% energy is forwarded here. Again to the apex, the human which eats fishes, which eats the animals from the water, the aquatic animals, the humans get only 10 kilocalories of the energy from the fishes, from the previous tropic level, right? So as the tropic level increases, you will find that the energy which is transferring get reduced. Okay, only 10% energy is forwarded to the next tropic level. Okay, so this is the overall concept. Now let's see the answer point wise. First, sun is the main source of energy in all ecosystem. Some amount of sun energy is trapped by the green plants and produce their food. This energy is transferred to the next tropic level when herbivores get feeded upon plants. But only 10% of the total energy from plants get transferred to the next level, and remaining 90% energy is either used by the plants by themselves or lost in the form of heat. Like this, energy is lost as it gets transferred from one organism to the other. Hence, energy decreases as it moves from one trophic level to another. This pattern of energy exchange in an ecosystem is called pyramid of energy. See the next question. What are the differences between the flow of matter and the energy in an ecosystem? In the last video only we have discussed about the flow of energy and flow of matter. Flow of matter means flow of nutrients, right? So if you see the diagram carefully, to the right of the diagram flow of energy is shown and to the left of the diagram flow of matter is shown. Okay, so from the diagram only you will come to know that the flow of energy is in one way direction, okay, and the flow of matter is in cyclic way, right? So this is the main difference between flow of energy and flow of matter, right? So flow of matter, that is nutrients, in an ecosystem is cyclic. However, the flow of energy in an ecosystem is one-way transport. All organisms need matter, that is nutrients, for their growth. These nutrients are continuously transferred from abiotic to biotic factors and biotic to abiotic factors within an ecosystem. This flow is in cyclic manner. Last point, during flow of energy, no part of it ever returns to the sun. Therefore, flow of energy in an ecosystem is considered to be one-way transport. Okay? So, thank you student. In this way, we have completed this lesson. So, let's see you all in the next video. Bye students. Take care of yourself.